Is it Buffalo all the way this time? Again? Grossi Posse Packer Nation. Welcome to an episode of Podcast, the podcast where you don't have to be Packers fan, but it sure does up. I'm your host, Tom. Who's going to be happy? Buffalo Bill or Ace Ventura? Because of the things with the Dolphins. Grossi, and today we are going to be predicting the AFC East. And again, if you haven't taken a look at previous prediction videos, basically I predict the floor and ceiling for each team, and at the very end we rank where I think they are going to place. So let's get started with the AFC East. A lot of question marks about this division, and we'll start with the team that might have one of the highest expectations this season in terms of their QB play. And by expectations, I mean if he doesn't do well, they're going to run him out of town. And that is Tua with the Miami Dolphins. The Dolphins could have made the playoffs last year. You know, they lost a whole bunch of games, and then they won a whole bunch of games in a row, and then they were like, bye, Brian Flores. And then Brian Flores I'm going to burn this league to the ground, just because Bill Belichick's never used a phone before. And he's like, congrats, Brian, on the new Giants job. And he's just like, what you mean? I haven't gotten interviewed yet. And Bill's just like, oops, my bad, as he tries to get revenge on the Giants for beating him in those Super Bowls those two times. But the Dolphins, they have done everything in their power besides, pay $100,000 to Brian Flores to lose games. Everything in their power to try and make Tua successful for this upcoming season. Armstead, they go get the best offensive lineman in free agency. They go get frickin' Tyreek Hill.
Very catchable. I don't want to continue because the more I talk, the more it sounds weird. So
they add so much speed at running back. They do everything to try and make the Dolphins incredibly competitive this season. And if they're not, it's kind of just going to fall at the laps of Tua. On top of that, they go and get one of the brightest minds from the 49ers to come on over as a head coach. And this guy, oh man, if you haven't watched McDaniel do a press conference yet, you are doing yourself a disservice. This guy is a living, breathing meme, and it is quite glorious. But as soon as he got hired, he's on the phone with Tua, he's on the FaceTimes, and he's like, listen, I'm going to do everything I can to make you good. So if Tua's not good this year and the Dolphins don't do well, yeah, they're going to run him out of town, and then Tom Brady is going to leave the Buccaneers next year, and then he's going to come on over to the Dolphins, and then Dolphins are going to have this weird Stockholm Syndrome thing. It'll be like, well, Brady, beat us for so long, except that one time when we had that miracle in Miami. I don't know if I like him, but I like my Dolphins. But have fun with that whenever that plays out. Taking a look at some of their tough games, they got the Patriots once. I think they're going to give them some trouble. They got the Bills twice. They got the Ravens, the Bengals, the Vikings, the Browns, the 49ers, the Chargers, and the Green Bay mother-loving Packers, even though that will be in Miami on Christmas. So the Dolphins might have an advantage there. So they definitely do not have an easy road ahead of them. However, I think that this team is full of really, really talented players. Their offensive line was one of the worst in the league last year. They addressed that, which was basically what they needed just so Tua could have time to throw the football. They get him one of the best wide receivers and fastest wide receivers in football. They're actually going to have a running game this year, which is really exciting because they didn't have any to speak of. Waddle emerged as a great wide receiver last season. Their defense and special teams should be good. So I see their floor being a 7-10 team. However, it's the complete inverse of where I see their ceiling and being a 10-7 team. They probably are going to have some growing pains. There's a new regime. There's a lot of new players. And just because you have good quality players and you put them all on the same team, it might take a little while to gel. I mean, look at the Rams, for example. The Rams, they're bringing in stars. They bring in new QBs, what have you. And it took them a while to get going. But once they did, they won a Super Bowl. So here, I think the Dolphins should be a playoff contending team. I don't think they're going to win the division just because they're in the same division as the Bills. But Dolphins, go swim this year. The thing is, are they going to swim and be majestic in the sunset, sun glistening off the water off their back? Or are they going to be swimming with the fishes? Which, I mean, I guess technically that's what Dolphins do, but I mean it in a negative way. Then after that, you got the Buffalo Bills. The Bills, they're Super Bowl contenders, right? I mean, I think they have one of the best odds to win the Super Bowl this year, and rightfully so. They go and get Von Miller. They should actually have maybe a decent running game this year, maybe potentially. They started getting the running game going near the end of the season, which was definitely needed with Singletary, but the Bills are locked and loaded to make a run. And if anything, this is their shot, and that's probably why Cole Beasley left, because he didn't like that. But the Bills, I don't really see a lot of weaknesses here. Hell, they even changed the rules for them so Josh Allen doesn't have to be afraid of a coin toss anymore. The Bills are ready to go. They got some tough games, though, ahead of them. They got the Rams, the Titans. I think the Dolphins might give them trouble. The Patriots, maybe. You know, it depends on if Mac Jones throws the ball 3 times or not. The Ravens, the Chiefs, the Packers, the Browns, the Vikings, and the Bengals. They got some tough games there. But as I said, the Bills are probably going to be favored to win the majority of those games. In terms of the floor, they're where the Dolphins were, but it's the Dolphins' ceiling. I see them as a 10-7 team minimum just because of how much talent's on there. Josh Allen is a phenomenal QB, really coming into his own. Of course, you have amazing wide receiver threats, so they should be at least 10-7. And I see their ceiling around 14-3. Again, some of those divisional games might be problematic, like in Foxborough potentially, or you might have some problems in Miami. But their biggest opponents are going to be the Chiefs, the Packers, the Browns, and the Bengals. And I think they should be at least able to win a bunch of those games. And so I see them having one of the highest ceilings in the NFL this season. And then when they get to the playoffs, it's up to them not to blow it in 13 seconds. Following that, you got Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots. This is a weird year for the Patriots. The Patriots made the playoffs last year. They did, with their rookie QB, Mac Jones. They did, so kudos to them. Then they got the absolute crap kicked out of them by the Bills, which just has to be so cathartic for Bills fans. And then so heartbreaking to then lose in the fashion that you did against the Kansas City Chiefs. But we're not going to talk about that right now. We're talking about the Patriots. The Patriots basically had no wide receivers. They bring some wide receivers in. They bring the fastest wide receiver in the draft who ran a 4.28, Tyquan Thornton. They bring him in. They go get Parker from Miami. So now there should be some weapons there. Mac Jones coming into his second season should be better. And if not, Bill Belichick drafted another QB. And I imagine that Bill Belichick, if Mac Jones starts to struggle, is going to be like the Joker in the Dark Knight and just crack a pool stick in half and go, whoever comes out gets to be QB1. I'm not saying he's definitely going to do that, but I'm also not saying that he's going to do that. Their defense lost J.C. Jackson, lost Kyle Van Noy. So that defense might take a little bit of a step back. Their offensive line, they decided to get a little strange with it. See what I did there? Names. But the Patriots, I don't know how good they're going to be. The Dolphins are emerging as potentially playoff contending teams. The Bills are a Super Bowl contending team. So the Patriots might struggle here. They got 2 tough games against the Bills, the Dolphins. They got the Ravens, the Packers, the Browns, the Colts, the Vikings, the Cardinals, the Raiders, and the Bengals. Some of those games are definitely going to be winnable, but I think that they might struggle this year, and you might actually see the Patriots have a losing record. I see their floor, just because of the quality of their opponent and all the question marks that they have with them, at around 5-12. That's the absolute floor. But I see their ceiling around a 9-8 record. I don't think they're going to blow anybody away this season. I'm sure Bill Belichick will prove me wrong, and he's going to go all Darth Sidious on the league. But I just think the Patriots are going to struggle this year, and they're kind of in this weird rebuild mode. Potentially in a year or so, they'll have enough ammunition to really make a deeper run. Then finally, you got the New Jersey Jets. Suck. The Jets should be better than last year. You might say, Tom, that's a really low bar. And I would agree with you. Zach Wilson came back from injury, played better than he did before injury. Again, really low bar here. But they decided to go get some weapons. So in the draft, had a phenomenal draft. Really, really like what they did in the draft. Not only are they getting Zach Wilson some premium wide receiver targets, but on top of that, every Italian Jets fan, they woke up and they were like, it smells like sauce. Their secondary could be good. Their defensive line Very good. So the Jets might be problematic for some teams this year, and don't be surprised if they're able to sneak away a couple of wins. Taking a look at their tough games, they got the Patriots, Bills, and Dolphins twice. I think that their division is going to be difficult. Then they got the Ravens, the Browns, the Bengals. They got the Steelers, Packers, Broncos, and Vikings. So not the easiest of schedules for them. I think that the Jets will do better this year, but I still don't think that they are playoff contenders just yet. A lot of that is going to rest on the arm of Zach Wilson. How much is he going to be able to progress? I see their floor around 4-13 and their ceiling being around 7-10. Again, better, but I still think that they have a year or two to go until we actually talk about them being contenders. So taking a look at the standings, I have the Bills finishing first, the Dolphins finishing second, the Patriots finishing third, and the Jets finishing fourth. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. You can always find me at TomGrossiComedy.com or at TomGrossiComedy, all social media, see down below. Check out podcasts on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play Music, Spotify, and of course YouTube. And a big shout and thank you to all the patrons over at patreon.com/TomGrossiComedy and the YouTube members. But thank you so much for watching. I'm Tom Grossi. And as always, go Pack Go.